and let us all do we can to build a better future.
I want to talk about age here. There was a recent survey, but from a company called Generation. It's a not-for-profit. It focuses on unemployment. They surveyed over 3,800 unemployed and employed people between the ages 18 and 60, and over 1,400 hiring managers in the U.S., Brazil, Italy, India, UK, Singapore, and Spain. And one of the interesting things that they came up with is that the people in my age group, the Gen Xers, had the most anxiety about employment, specifically addressing the issue of age discrimination. And I think it's an interesting question because age discrimination has been a thing for a long time. And despite the fact that hiring managers are of the opinion that workers over the age of 45 are often better performers than those who are younger, in a lot of cases it's hard for people who are older or who mid-career to get back to work if they've been fired because of age discrimination, because in many cases supervisors do not, people in supervisory positions do not want to hire people who are older than them. They're uncomfortable with that. So it's kind of a difficult situation for Gen X because, and I can tell you this, growing up, when we were very young, and particularly I'm one of the older Gen Xers at 52, when we were very, very young, we were told we could be anything we wanted to be. But by the time we were in college, it was becoming very clear that we were not going to have the same standard of living as our parents did. Wages were going down, and our ability to live like our parents did, single income households, nice homes in the suburbs, cars, vacations, was not going to happen. But because I think we'd been told that we could do whatever we wanted to, we just kind of pushed forward, pursued the careers we thought we'd want, and many of us have repeatedly ended up in pickles during, say, the dot-com bust. That happened then. We had the real estate crisis of 2008, and of course, now our current situation. But for me, my takeaway with this is that age discrimination has been given a pass for way, way too long. It is illegal to discriminate against somebody on the basis of age. I think it's usually if you're over 40, that's where that cutoff is. And it's we don't have teeth in our employment laws here. Again, you have to report it to the to the employment agency, the Department of Labor. You have to get somebody to investigate it. Ha 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 ha. You have to find a lawyer who's willing to take the case. It's not an easy thing to do, but if we want this country to be able to keep it together, and I'm not entirely sure that is going to happen, but hypothetically, if there's a chance of this country keeping it together, we can't have whole segments of people permanently unemployed or underemployed, although we're in a country that obviously tolerates whole groups of people being, say, incarcerated, whole groups of people being homeless, whole groups of people not having medical insurance. And if we're going to be looking, particularly as we start to see more automation happening, and instead of employers saying, hey, let's change our business model to fit the fact that we don't need people working 40-plus hours a week. If they're not willing to do that, we potentially see some very disgruntled pockets of people who are chronically unemployed or underemployed, and that's not going to help matters here at all.
If I can add one thing, too, in regards to this economic situation you're in, that we are all in, to the boomers, Gen Xers, millennials, Gen Z, corporate media and the political establishment have used this propaganda saying that, well, workers are being lazy, people are being lazy, people are just don't want to do it. Here's the thing. All of you, no matter what generation you're part of, you're not lazy, you're not weak, you're not feeble. You know what it is? We're living in a system where every day has been a struggle to survive. Every day has been a fight to survive. Every day has always been a day of uncertainty because we don't have Medicare for all or UBI or Federal Jobs Guarantee Act or any other social safety nets. You want to know what's going on? We're all exhausted because we've been worked to the bone. We've been worked to death, and our politicians who have gold-plated health care and benefits, who are just living in luxury because they are, if one of your elected officials say that they're not, they are. They're living their best lives. They're okay. They're comfortable. Well, they don't deserve to be comfortable, and they don't deserve to say, oh, you're being lazy. We need to be protesting in front of their homes, in front of their offices. We need to be calling their offices, emailing their offices, blasting them on social media, Democrat and Republican lawmakers. And the working class, no matter what generation you're part of, we are exhausted. We're burnt out. We deserve a bailout. And none of us deserve to be living in the standards that we are because our politicians and our corporate media let this happen. Democratic and Republican lawmakers and Democratic and presidential administrations let this happen. They did this, not us.
So I would also just throw that it's crazy. Like every single group of people has a economic discrimination against them that is utilized against them to their fullest. Whether it be ads for entry-level jobs that require years of experience to weed out the people that they don't want that are too young, that I don't want to give them too much of a thing, or the flip side of saying, hey, this person's too old, they're going to ask for too much money, they're not going to know how to use technology. What employers would really like is actually the China model, which is, hey, how about if I just pay you like $0.25 an hour, and you work for 18 hours, and you do everything that we say and never complain. How's that sound? Because it's better than being a serf somewhere in China where you make 10 cents an hour doing harder work or whatever it may be. So this is the core issue with the way that the economy is put together, and we see it from so many different angles, whether it's millennials saying that they're not getting that management's too overbearing or things of that nature, that they're not allowed to do things that would make sense for a millennial to do or a Gen Z or whatever. And you can go through every single, the people that are in boomer bracket of age, you're good luck finding a job that someone will hire you at because, again, from their point of view, it's just not worth it. The problem is the effect of the problem is seen with these specific ways of discrimination. And another thing to what Laney was saying as well, isn't it interesting that the way to deal with attacks from businesses and employers and whatnot is for the people that have the least amount of money to somehow cobble together thousands of dollars for a lawsuit, and we call that reasonable. Isn't it interesting how just lawsuits in general only can happen if you have $100,000 lying around to make it happen? It's almost as if all of this is stacked, and the real discrimination is, are you a millionaire?
Well, I would also say, that there are lawyers that will take these cases on a contingency basis, but the lawyer has to evaluate it, and the lawyer has to say, this is going to be a slam dunk. Right. I can do this. I can afford to put, because you're basically forcing the attorney or the firm to extend credit on the assumption, or gamble, actually taking a gamble on the case, because we don't have enough inspectors in this country to see to it that the system works the way it's going to. And to everybody's point here, you had people. To your point, why would anybody who's making $10 an hour, or even 15 at this point, honestly, want to go to work where there's a chance that somebody's going to punch you in the head because you are enforcing say, for example, a mask rule or a social distancing rule, or just because somebody is angry? We've been hearing from restaurant owners saying people have forgotten how to be human.
Yeah.
And any kind of a customer-facing job at this point, I would say, is a major risk, just because of the fact that people are really having a lot of difficulty adjusting to the constant and ongoing changes. And of course, we have a very poorly managed mental health problem in this country because, again, there is no entitlement to health care.
Yeah.
In the U.S.
Yeah.
It is really disturbing. And the thing is, okay, why would I want to go to work to be treated poorly, to get paid very little, where my take-home pay, when you consider things like child care, meals, transportation, amount to, in some cases, less than minimum wage, just to support somebody who doesn't have any regard for me, and I'm not getting anything out of it.
I remember I saw recently a little, it was a meme, it was like Walmart was like trying to show how much they care about their workers working for them, and they forgot to flip out their cards, and so they're like, "We care so much about you, employee number 1134." Oops, forgot to shift the name into there, but
my
you know.
God.
Oh, Lord.
Okay, so real quick, before we get to start the next story, I do want to acknowledge YouTube Super Chats. Shout out to Roger Meadows, who tipped $5. Oh, shoot, Kit, looks like you're about to talk about my company. I wish you would have told me. I would have sent you this WeFunder, WeFunder.com driver scoop. Oh, awesome. Send me that link in private message, Roger. And then also shout out to Juan Magana. I hope I said your name correctly. Apologies if I didn't. $5. I have a feeling something big is going to happen this holiday season. They need us the most. Yeah. Well, the thing is, this holiday season that's coming up, you know, all the corporations are going to be like, well, we need all of you back.
But again, it's like, well, I'm really sad because they're going to have to pay over $15 minimum wage, and as far as I've been told by everyone on TV, that they're just going to collapse if they do that.
Well,